The large room fell silent as the aliens walked in. Captain June Kim stood straight, his blue uniform crisp and neat. This was a big day for Earth, the first official meeting with the Galactic Confederation. 3 months had passed since their ships appeared in the sky. 3 months of careful talks and small meetings. Now finally Earth was being invited to join the larger community of space travelers. June watched the aliens glide across the floor. They were tall, nearly 7 feet, with skin that seemed to glow from within. They moved like dancers, smooth and sure. Next to them, humans looked small and clumsy. "Welcome to Earth," said President Chen, rising from her seat at the large round table. "We are honored by your presence." The lead alien, Ambassador Trellix, gave what might have been a smile. It was hard to tell with their strange faces. "The honor is ours," said Trellix. His voice sounded like music played on glass. "The Confederation seeks all thinking life forms." June noticed something in the alien's tone. A hint of, what? Not respect. Something else. Dr. Hannah Park sat beside June, her tablet ready to take notes. As Earth's top expert on alien life, she had been studying the visitors since day one. She caught June's eye and raised an eyebrow. She had heard it too. "Please, sit," said the president. "Let us discuss Earth joining your confederation." The aliens took their seats, their long fingers folded neatly on the table. "Your species is fascinating," Trellix began. "Despite your physical weakness and simple technology, you've managed to survive on your harsh planet." June felt his jaw tighten. An insult wrapped in polite words. "Harsh planet?" asked Hannah, looking up from her tablet. "Indeed," said Trellix. "Your need for oxygen, your sensitivity to radiation, your fragile bodies, so many challenges. Yet here you are." Another alien spoke up. This one had darker skin that glowed blue instead of green. "Most species with your limitations died out long ago." The room grew tense. The human delegates looked at each other. "We find Earth quite comfortable," said President Chen carefully, "and we are proud of our progress." "As you should be," said Trellix, nodding. "For one so limited, you have come far." June fought to keep his face blank. These aliens were not here as friends. They were here to judge. Trellix waved a hand, and a glowing map filled the air above the table. Stars and planets spun slowly, showing a vast network of worlds. "The Confederation welcomes all thinking beings," he said. "Even those with limitations. Your kind will be classified as a Category 3 civilization." "What does that mean?" asked the president. "Protected status," said Trellix. "Limited voting rights. Access to trade but restrictions on certain technologies, deemed too advanced for your current level." Hannah was writing quickly now, her face tight with anger. "Who decides these categories?" she asked. "The High Council," said the blue alien, "based on strict measures of advancement." "And what are those measures?" pressed Hannah. Trellix waved a hand as if brushing away a fly. "Biological resilience, energy efficiency, technological innovation, mental capacity." "I see," said President Chen. Her voice was cold now. "And we fall short in these areas?" "Not short," said Trellix. "Different. Some species grow strong bodies. Some develop powerful minds. Some create amazing machines. Humans." He paused. "Humans try very hard." Several human delegates shifted in their seats. General Park, head of Earth's Defense Forces, looked ready to leap across the table. "We appreciate your assessment," said the president. "Let us discuss the practical details of this arrangement." The meeting went on for hours. The aliens explained the rules of the Confederation, the benefits Earth would receive, and the limits that would be placed on them. The whole time their words carried that same tone, like adults talking to children. When it was over, June and Hannah walked together down the long hallway of the United Nations building. "That was not what I expected," said June quietly. Hannah clutched her tablet to her chest. "They think we're primitive, weak. They made that very clear. But they don't understand, said Hannah, stopping to face him. They don't see what makes us strong. June raised an eyebrow. And what is that, Doctor? Park? Everything they called a weakness, she said. Our need for oxygen means we had to learn to clean our air. Our sensitivity to radiation forced us to develop protection. Our fragile bodies pushed us to create medicine and technology. June nodded slowly. We had to work harder because things didn't come easy. Exactly. Hannah's eyes lit up. They see weakness. I see a species that had to solve problems from day one. They started walking again, passing large windows that showed the New York skyline. The alien ship hung in the distance, a silver disk against the blue sky. Will Earth join? Asked Hannah. The president will put it to a vote, said June. But I think we will. Even with their conditions, the benefits are too great to pass up. As a Category 3 civilization, said Hannah with a bitter smile. For now, said June, things can change. Later. That night, June stood on the roof of his hotel looking up at the stars. So many worlds out there, and now Earth knew its place among them, at the bottom. His phone buzzed. A message from the president. He had been chosen to serve as Earth's first official representative to the Confederation. He would travel to their central world next month. June took a deep breath of cool night air. His weak human lungs filled, then emptied. The aliens might look down on such a simple act, but to June it felt like strength. The strength to keep going, to adapt, to survive. They'll learn, he said to the stars. Someday, they'll learn what humans can do. He didn't know, then how soon that day would come. 2 weeks later, June sat across from Hannah in a small cafe. She had asked to meet urgently. I've been studying their biology, she said, sliding a tablet across the table. Look at this. June studied the images on the screen. Detailed scans of the alien visitors. What am I looking at? He asked. Their bodies, said Hannah. So advanced compared to ours, right? But see this? She pointed to one section. No immune system, at least not like ours. How is that possible? They've engineered diseases out of existence in their worlds, said Hannah. They haven't faced a new pathogen in thousands of years. June looked up. And that means? It means they've forgotten how to adapt, said Hannah. Their technology protects them so well they've lost the ability to change, to fight, to evolve. June sat back, thinking about this. Interesting, but what does it matter? Their technology is still far beyond ours. Hannah took back her tablet. Maybe. But technology can fail. And when it does, those who remember how to adapt are the ones who survive. Let's hope it doesn't come to that, said June. But as he prepared for his journey to the stars, a nagging feeling told him that humanity's greatest test was just beginning, and perhaps, just perhaps, those traits the aliens called weaknesses would prove to be their greatest strengths. The day of departure came. June stood before the alien ship, ready to represent Earth among the stars, ready to show the galaxy that humans were not to be underestimated. Little did he know how soon the galaxy would learn the value of human resilience. 2 years had passed since Earth joined the Galactic Confederation. Captain June Kim stood by the large window in his office on Centris Station, the huge space city that served as the heart of galactic politics. He watched ships coming and going, each one more strange and wonderful than the last. Being Earth's main representative had not been easy. At every meeting, humans were treated like children. The other species smiled their strange smiles and spoke slowly, as if June might not understand. Big words. It made his teeth clench, but he always kept his cool. The door slid open. Dr. Hannah Park walked in, her face serious. You've heard the news? She asked. June nodded. Hard to miss, the delegates from the outer systems are in a panic. It's worse than they're saying publicly, said Hannah. She placed her tablet on his desk. Look at these reports. June looked at the screen. It showed a map of the galaxy with red dots spreading like a rash across one section. The void plague, he said. That's what they're calling it. Yes. It started in the Meraxis system 3 months ago. Now it's in 12 systems and spreading fast. June frowned. What exactly does it do? The reports are vague. Hana sat down, looking tired. She had been working as Earth's chief science officer, studying alien technologies that humans were now allowed to access, though only the most basic ones. It consumes energy at the quantum level, she explained. Their ships start to fail, defense systems go down, power grids collapse. A weapon? Asked June. They don't think so. No one has claimed responsibility. It seems to spread on its own, like a real plague. June looked back at the map. The red dots were too close to major trade routes for comfort. What are they doing about it? Everything they can, said Hana. But nothing works. The Confederation's best scientists are stumped. A soft chime sounded. The computer's voice announced, "Priority message from the High Council." "Accept," said June. A hologram appeared in the center of the room. It was Ambassador Trellix, his skin glowing dimly, a sign of stress among his kind. "Captain Kim," said Trellix, "your presence is requested at an emergency council session, 1 hour." The hologram vanished before June could reply. "That was abrupt," said Hana. "Even for him." "They're scared," said June. "I've never seen Trellix's light so dim." "Should I come with you?" June nodded. "Yes. I have a feeling we'll need your expertise." An hour later, they sat in the great hall of the High Council. The room was huge, with seats for representatives from all 1,000-member worlds. Today, many seats were empty. The outer systems were too busy fighting for survival to send delegates. Trellix stood at the center podium, his usual smooth confidence replaced by jerky movements. "The void plague continues to spread," he announced. 15 systems are now affected. Our best ships cannot enter these zones without failing. Our most advanced AIs shut down when they try to analyze the plague. Murmurs filled the hall. Fear was an emotion shared by all species. "The High Council has formed a special task force," continued Trellix. "All member worlds are asked to contribute their best scientists and resources." June leaned over to Hana. "This is our chance. They've never asked for our help before." She nodded. "I've been reviewing the data. I have some ideas already." Trellix was still speaking. "We face an enemy that strikes at the heart of our greatest achievements. Our ships, our stations, our very way of life depends on the quantum technologies that the plague targets." A tall, thin alien stood up. "Admiral Xenoth, head of the Confederation fleet. What about the less advanced worlds?" he asked. "Have they been affected too?" Trellix paused. "An excellent question. The data shows that Category 3 civilizations have reported minimal impacts." The hall went quiet. Then everyone started talking at once. Trellix raised his hands for silence. "It appears that simpler technologies are more resistant to the plague." All eyes turned to the human section. June felt the weight of 1,000 stares. Trellix's glow brightened slightly. "Captain Kim, Dr. Park, the Council requests Earth's assistance in this matter." June stood slowly. "Earth stands ready to help, Ambassador. But I must point out that for 2 years we have been denied access to your advanced technologies because we were deemed primitive." The word hung in the air. "The situation has changed," said Trellix stiffly. "Indeed it has," said June. "Perhaps being primitive has its advantages." Hana stood up beside him. "If I may, Ambassador, our ships use hardened electronics designed to withstand solar radiation and electromagnetic pulses. Our computers have manual backups. Our life support systems can be operated without computers if needed." "Wasteful redundancies," muttered someone in the crowd. "Life-saving redundancies," corrected Hana. "When you live on a harsh planet, you learn to prepare for the worst." Trellix's glow pulsed with what might have been embarrassment. "The Council acknowledges Earth's unique perspective may be valuable in this crisis." "We need your help," said Admiral Xenoth bluntly. "Your crude ships may be our only way to reach the affected systems." June looked at Hana. She gave a small nod. Earth will help, said June. But we want full access to all data on the plague, and we want our status in the Confederation reviewed after this crisis is resolved. Trellix and Xenoth exchanged glances. Agreed, said Trellix finally. Resources will be made available immediately. 3 days later, June stood in the hangar bay of Centris Station. 20 ships had arrived from Earth. They looked small and plain next to the sleek Confederation vessels. But they were working, which was more than could be said for the fancier ships. Admiral Xenoth approached, looking down at June from his great height. Your vessels are interesting, he said. They're reliable, replied June, built to keep working when things go wrong. A primitive approach, said Xenoth. A practical one, countered June. Sometimes the old ways are best. Xenoth made a sound. That might have been a laugh. We shall see, human. We shall see. On the other side of the hangar, Hana was briefing the human science team. They had been given access to all the data on the Void Plague, and they were already seeing patterns that the alien scientist had missed. They over-rely on their AIs, Hana told June when he joined her. When the AIs failed, they had no idea how to analyze the data themselves. Can we solve this? Asked June quietly. Hana smiled. I think so. The plague behaves like a living organism. It's eating energy. If we can understand its life cycle, we might be able to stop it. Or at least contain it, said June. Exactly. We don't need to kill it, just control it. June looked around at the human ships being loaded with supplies. Earth had been training for this moment without knowing it. All those years of dealing with harsh conditions, of making do with less, of finding ways to survive against the odds. It was all preparation for this. Tomorrow we head to the front lines, he said. The first Earth ships to enter the plague zone. Not just Earth ships, said Hana. Earth scientists too. I'm going with the research vessel. June frowned. It's dangerous. So is letting the plague spread, said Hana. Besides, when has danger ever stopped humans from doing what needs to be done? June couldn't argue with that. If there was one thing humans knew how to do, it was face danger head-on. That night, as the humans prepared for their mission, news spread through Centris Station. The Void Plague had reached 3 more systems. Important trade routes were now cut off. Food shortages were starting in some worlds. The mighty Confederation, with all its advanced technology, was facing an enemy it couldn't fight. And now they turned to the humans they had once looked down on. As June lay in his bed staring at the ceiling, he thought about how quickly things had changed. 2 years of being treated like children, and now they were the last hope of the galaxy. We'll show them what humans can do, he whispered to himself. We'll show them what it means to be strong. And with that thought, he drifted off to sleep, ready for whatever challenges the next day would bring. The star system of Proxima was once a busy trade hub. Now it was a dead zone. The Void Plague had hit 3 weeks ago. Hundreds of ships floated in space, no power, no life support. Some still had survivors, waiting for help. Help was coming. But not in the form anyone expected. Admiral Suho Lee stood on the bridge of the Earthship Resilience. It was not a fancy ship. No gleaming metals or glowing controls. Just solid, dependable human engineering. All systems check? Suho asked his first officer. All green, sir, said Commander Min. Engines at full power. Life support normal. Communications clear. And the alien observers? Min smiled slightly, still amazed that our primitive ship is working when theirs aren't. 3 Confederation officers stood at the back of the bridge. They watched the humans with a mix of doubt and hope. They had never been on a ship with so many buttons and switches. They were used to mental commands and AI assistance. Begin approach to Proxima Station, ordered Suho. The Resilience moved forward, leading a group of 10 Earth ships. They were the first vessels to enter this system since the plague hit. The mission: rescue survivors and gather data on the plague. En trop. The research ship Discovery, Dr. Hana Park watched the dead station grow larger on the screen. Next to her stood Dr. Minji Kang, Earth's top expert on computer systems. Look at that, said Minji, pointing to readings on her screen. Energy levels around the station are strange. It's like something is feeding on the power systems. Hana nodded. The plague. It eats energy at the quantum level. But our ships are too simple to be good food. Simple, but effective, said Minji with a grin. She had faced years of mockery for her work on old-style computing. Her research into mechanical systems and vacuum tubes had been called backwards and useless in an age of quantum computers. Now that research might save the galaxy. "We're receiving a transmission from the Resilience," said the communications officer. Admiral Suho's face appeared on the screen. "Dr. Park, we're sending rescue teams to the station. Can your science team be ready to board in 30 minutes? "We'll be ready," said Hana. "We need samples from the station's power core." "Be careful," warned Suho. "We don't know if this thing can affect humans directly." "We'll use full containment protocols," promised Hana. After the call ended, Minji looked worried. "Do you think it could hurt us, the plague?" "I don't know," admitted Hana. "But that's why we're here, to find out." 30 minutes later, Hana led her team into the airlock. They wore special suits, not the sleek ones the Confederation used, but bulky human-made suits built to withstand harsh conditions. Each suit had its own air supply and power source. The airlock opened, revealing the dark interior of Proxima Station. Emergency lights cast red shadows. The air was cold. "Power is at 5%, reported one of the science team, checking a handheld device. "Just enough for basic life support and emergency systems." "Any survivors?" asked Hana. "Readings show life signs in the central hub," said another team member. "The rescue team is heading there now." Hana nodded. "We go to the power core. Stay together. Watch your suit readings." They moved carefully through the station. It was eerily quiet. A place built for thousands now held only a few frightened survivors. At the main power core, they found what they were looking for. The massive quantum generators were dark, but something strange glowed around them, a faint blue light that moved like water. "There it is," whispered Hana. "The void plague." Minji stepped forward, her scanner held out. "It's beautiful, in a scary way." "Get samples," ordered Hana. "But don't get too close." While the team worked, Hana's communicator beeped. It was Captain June Kim calling from Centris Station. "How bad is it?" he asked, his face serious on the small screen. "The station is mostly dead," reported Hana. "But we've found the plague. It's gathering around power sources like a moth to flame." "Can you stop it?" "Not yet. But we're learning. It doesn't seem interested in our technology. Only the advanced quantum systems." June nodded. "The same report from other teams. Earth. Ships are the only ones that can work in the affected zones. The Confederation is in shock." "How are they treating you now?" asked Hana with a small smile. "Differently," said June. "Very differently. The High Council has given Earth emergency powers to lead the response." "About time they saw our worth," said Hana. Back on the Resilience, Admiral Suho received reports from all teams. The rescue mission was going well. 300 survivors, found so far. But the news from other systems was grim. The plague was spreading faster. "Sir," said Commander Min. "Message from Earth. The President has authorized Operation Earthbound." Suho nodded. This was what they had planned for. A full-scale response to the crisis led by Earth, using human methods and technology. "Send the signal to all Earth ships," ordered Suho. "Operation Earthbound is now active." Within hours, the message spread across the galaxy. Earth was taking the lead. The once mocked Category 3 civilization was now in charge of saving everyone. 2 days later, Hana and Minji presented their findings to a packed room on Centris Station. Representatives from 100 worlds watched, their faces showing various forms of worry. "The void plague is not a weapon or a virus," explained Hana. "It's a life form. It feeds on energy, specifically the kind used in quantum technology. Can it be killed?" asked Admiral Xenoth. "We don't think that's the right approach," said Minji. "Fighting it directly might make it stronger or change in unpredictable ways. Then what do you suggest? Demanded Trellix. Hana stepped forward. We adapt. We change how we use energy. We create safe zones using older technologies until we understand this life form better. Murmurs filled the room. The idea of going backward, of using less advanced technology, was shocking to many. Impossible, said one delegate. Our worlds depend on quantum systems for everything. Then your worlds will die, said Suho bluntly. This is not about pride. It's about survival. There was angry shouting. Delegates argued among themselves, but in the end they had no choice. Earth's plan was the only plan. Operation Earthbound began in full force. Earth sent ships to all affected systems. Human engineers taught aliens how to build simpler machines that could resist the plague. Dr. Minji's team created special computers using vacuum tubes and mechanical parts that could replace failed quantum systems. It was not easy. Many aliens refused to believe that humans could teach them anything, but as more worlds fell to the plague, resistance faded. 1 month into the operation, Suho met with June and Hana on the resilience. They were tired but satisfied. The rescue efforts were working. The plague's spread had slowed. Earth is being called the savior of the galaxy, said June. The Confederation news networks can't stop talking about human ingenuity. And human stubbornness, added Suho with a smile. Hana looked at a data pad showing the latest research. We're making progress understanding the plague, but there's still so much we don't know. We'll figure it out, said June. That's what humans do. We solve problems. As they spoke, a message came in from Earth. More ships were on the way, more engineers and scientists. Operation Earthbound was changing the galaxy, and changing how the galaxy saw humans. 3 months had passed since Operation Earthbound began. The situation was better, but not solved. The void plague still spread, though more slowly now. 40 star systems were affected. Millions of aliens lived on emergency supplies, using Earth-made machines to keep their worlds running. Dr. Hana Park had not slept much in those 3 months. Day and night she worked in her lab on Centris Station, studying the strange life form that ate energy. Dark circles showed under her eyes, but her mind was sharp as ever. More coffee? Asked Captain June Kim, entering the lab with 2 steaming cups. Thanks, said Hana, taking one without looking up from her microscope. I think I'm close to something. June sat down across from her. The High Council is meeting tomorrow. They want answers. I know. Hana sighed. The containment strategy is helping, but it's not enough. We need a real solution. On the screen behind her, images showed the blue glow of the void plague. It looked like a living thing now, with patterns that shifted and changed. The team had learned to track its movements, to predict where it would go next, always toward the richest energy sources. It's so strange, said Hana, looking at the screen. It's not evil, it's just hungry. Try telling that to the people who lost their homes, said June. I know. But fighting it hasn't worked. We need to understand it better. Just then, the door opened. Admiral Suho Lee walked in looking tired but proud. Behind him came Dr. Minji Kang carrying a large data pad. We have news, said Suho. The retrofit of the Betelgeuse station is complete. Earth technology is now powering the entire facility. And, added Minji with a smile, no sign of the plague returning to the station. This was good news. Betelgeuse station had been one of the first places hit by the plague. Now it was safe again, thanks to human engineers replacing advanced systems with simpler ones. That's 20 major stations now running on retrofitted systems, said June. The Confederation is starting to believe this might work long-term. Hana frowned. But it's not a solution. We can't uninvent quantum technology. The galaxy needs those advanced systems. So what do we do? Asked Suho. Hana looked at the screen again, watching the blue glow move. She had been thinking about this problem for months, and now finally an idea was forming. What if we're looking at this all wrong? She said slowly. We've been treating the plague like an enemy, something to fight or avoid. Isn't it? asked June. No, it's a living thing. It's just doing what living things do, trying to survive. It found a food source it likes, quantum energy, and it's eating it. So, said Suho, so instead of fighting it, what if we redirect it, give it what it wants but in a controlled way? The others looked at her with confusion. Like how we clean up oil spills on Earth, explained Hana, getting excited now. We use bacteria that eat oil. We don't try to kill the bacteria. We put them where we want the oil removed, then take them away when the job is done. Minji's eyes widened as she understood. You want to use the plague? Yes. We create special energy farms, places where we generate quantum energy just for the plague to eat, places away from important systems. Like a wildlife preserve, said June slowly. We give it a place to live where it won't harm our systems. Exactly, said Hana. We don't need to destroy it. We just need to give it a better option. The idea was bold. Maybe too bold. But they had tried everything else. We'll need to convince the High Council, said Suho. And they won't like it. They still want to destroy the plague completely. Then we'll have to show them why this is better, said Hana. I need data from all affected systems, and I need to run some tests. The next day, Hana stood before the High Council. Hundreds of alien delegates watched as she presented her plan. She spoke simply and clearly, explaining the nature of the plague and why fighting it directly wouldn't work. This life form evolved to eat the energy we use, she said. The more we fight it, the more it adapts. But we can use that hunger to our advantage. Ambassador Trellix, who now showed Hana much more respect than before, asked, How can we be sure it will go where we want it to go? Because we'll make the energy farms more attractive than any other source, explained Hana. Like putting out a better food for a pest so it leaves your crops alone. There were many questions, many doubts. But in the end, the council agreed to try Hana's plan. They had few other options. Work began immediately. Earth engineers, now respected across the galaxy, designed special stations that would generate quantum energy in a controlled way. These energy farms would be placed far from travel routes and populated worlds. June was put in charge of the implementation team. He worked closely with Admiral Xenoth, who had become a strong supporter of Earth's methods. You were right, human, Xenoth told June one day as they reviewed plans. Sometimes the old ways are best. Not always, said June. But it helps to have many ways to solve a problem, not just the most advanced one. A lesson my people are learning, admitted Xenoth. 1 month later, the first energy farm was ready. It was a simple station in an empty star system. No one lived there, nothing valuable to protect. Just a place where the plague could feed without harming anyone. Hana, June, Suho, and Minji watched from a safe distance as the farm was activated. Powerful quantum generators hummed to life, creating the energy the plague craved. Now we wait, said Hana. They didn't wait long. Within hours, sensors detected the blue glow approaching the station. The plague had sensed the energy from light years away. It came quickly, drawn to the rich food source. It's working, whispered Minji as they watched the screens. The plague surrounded the energy farm, feeding happily on the output. Over the next few days, something amazing happened. Plague levels in nearby systems began to drop. The living energy was leaving populated areas, drawn to the more attractive food source of the energy farm. It's like calling a pet to dinner, said June, watching the data with growing hope. More energy farms were built. Each one drew more of the plague away from important systems. Slowly, the galaxy began to recover. 2 weeks after the first farm activated, Hana made another discovery. The plague wasn't just feeding on the energy, it was changing it, making it cleaner, more efficient. It's not destroying the energy, she told the others excitedly. It's processing it, like how plants process carbon dioxide into oxygen. Can we use that? Asked Suho. Hana's eyes sparkled. I think so. I think we might be able to work with this life form, not just contain it. This new information changed everything. What had seemed like a disaster might become a blessing. The Plague that ate energy could become a partner in creating new, better energy systems. As the plan continued to work, as more systems were freed from the plague, the galaxy looked at humans with new eyes. The weak species from a harsh planet had found a solution when all the advanced races had failed. Hana smiled as she looked at her latest data. The answer hadn't been to fight harder or build better weapons. It had been to understand, to adapt, to find a way to live alongside a new life form. That was the human way. That was true strength. 1 year had passed since the Void Plague first appeared. The galaxy was healing. Most affected systems were now clear. Trade routes were open again. People were returning to their homes. And Earth had changed from an ignored Category 3 civilization to the hero of the Confederation. Captain June Kim stood in the Grand Hall of Earth's United Nations building. Today, for the first time ever, the Galactic High Council was meeting on Earth. It was a great honor, one that would have been unthinkable just a year ago. The room was filled with delegates from 1,000 worlds. Some floated in special tanks. Some glowed with inner light. Some looked almost human. All had come to Earth, the planet they once called harsh and primitive. "Nervous?" asked Dr. Hana Park, standing beside June in her formal uniform. "A little," admitted June. "I never thought I'd see this day." "None of us did," said Hana, "but we earned it." On the other side of the room stood Admiral Suho Lee and Dr. Minji Kang. They were talking with Admiral Xenoth, who now treated them as equals. The doors opened. Ambassador Trellix entered, his skin glowing bright with formal colors. The room fell silent. "Beings of the Confederation," began Trellix, his voice carrying to all corners of the hall. "We gather today on Earth to honor those who saved us from the greatest crisis of our time." Trellix gestured to the human delegation. 1 year ago, when the Void Plague threatened to destroy our way of life, it was the humans, whom we had classified as a lesser civilization, who showed us the way forward. June felt a warmth in his chest. This moment meant so much. Not just for him, but for all humans who had worked so hard to earn respect among the stars. "Today," continued Trellix, "the High Council has voted unanimously on 2 important matters." The room was completely still. Everyone waited. First, Earth's status in the Confederation has been changed. No longer will humans be considered Category 3. We have created a new designation, Adaptive Class, for those species whose greatest strength lies not in their biological advantages or technological supremacy, but in their unmatched ability to overcome adversity. Applause filled the hall. The human delegates looked at each other with pride and amazement. "Second," said Trellix when the noise died down, "we announced the success of the Harmony Project." Hana's project had been renamed Harmony after her discovery about the plague's energy processing abilities. For 6 months, she had led teams of scientists studying how to work with the Void Plague rather than just contain it. "Thanks to Dr. Park and her colleagues," said Trellix, "the life form once feared as the Void Plague is now helping to power 15 Confederation worlds. The energy farms have evolved into partnership stations, where the life form processes our quantum energy into more efficient forms. Early results suggest a 30% increase in energy output with zero waste." More applause. Hana blushed, slightly. Her idea had grown into something bigger than she ever imagined. "We have learned much from this crisis," Trellix said, his glow pulsing with emotion. "Perhaps the most important lesson is that true strength comes in many forms. The very traits we once dismissed as weaknesses in humans, their need to prepare for problems, their focus on backup systems, their stubborn refusal to give up. These proved to be the salvation of us all." As the ceremony continued, June thought about the strange journey that had brought them here. From being looked down on to being celebrated, from being denied access to technology to teaching the galaxy new ways to use it. After the formal speeches, there was a reception. Aliens and humans mingled, sharing food and drinks from many worlds. June found Hana standing by a window, looking out at the New York skyline. "Enjoying your moment of triumph?" he asked. Hana smiled. "I was just thinking about our conversation after that first meeting with the aliens. Do you remember?" "How could I forget? You said they didn't understand what makes us strong." "And now they do," said Hana. At least they're starting to. Across the room, Minji was showing a group of alien scientists her latest invention, a hybrid system that combined Earth's reliable mechanical computers with the Confederation's quantum technology. It was immune to the Void Plague, now officially renamed the Energy Harmonizer, and more powerful than either system alone. "They're still not getting the full picture," said June, watching the aliens' amazed reactions to Minji's device. "What do you mean?" asked Hana. "They see our adaptability as a special trait, something separate from our supposed weaknesses. They don't understand that our adaptability exists because of our challenges." Hana nodded slowly. "True. Living on a harsh planet having fragile bodies, these things forced us to become problem solvers, to think creatively, to never give up." "Exactly. The very things they saw as weaknesses were the source of our strength all along." Admiral Suho joined them, holding a drink of blue alien liquid. "What are you two looking so serious about? This is a celebration." "Just contemplating the nature of strength and weakness," said June. Suho laughed. "Very philosophical, but I prefer action to philosophy. And our actions have spoken quite loudly, wouldn't you say?" "Indeed they have," agreed Hana. The reception continued into the night. Plans were made for more cooperation between Earth and the Confederation. Humans would help design new ships with both advanced and simple systems working together. Earth scientists would train others in their methods. And the Energy Harmonizer would continue to be studied and used to improve life across the galaxy. As the event wound down, Trellix approached June privately. His glow was dimmed to show sincerity. "Captain Kim," he said, "I wish to offer a personal apology. When we first met, I did not treat your kind with the respect you deserved." June was surprised. An apology from Trellix was unexpected. "Thank you, Ambassador," he said, "but no apology is needed. We all learn and grow." "Indeed we do," said Trellix, "and my people have much still to learn from yours." After Trellix left, June found himself alone for a moment. He walked to the window and looked up at the night sky. The stars seemed different now. Not distant points of light, but places where humans were welcomed. Places where the word Earth was spoken with respect. The next morning, as Earth's sun rose over New York, a new era began. Ships departed for the stars, carrying humans to worlds that once looked down on them. They went as teachers, as partners, as equals. And throughout the galaxy, the story spread. The story of how the species once called weak had saved them all. How the primitive planet Earth had shown the way forward when advanced civilizations faltered. It changed how the galaxy thought about strength, about adaptation, about the value of struggling against challenges rather than avoiding them. Earth was now seen for what it truly was. Not a harsh planet that created a weak species, but a training ground that forged an incredibly strong one. A people who never stopped trying, never stopped learning, never stopped believing they could overcome any obstacle. That was humanity's true gift to the stars. Not just saving them from the Void Plague, but showing them a new definition of strength. One based not on avoiding hardship, but on rising to meet it. And as the years passed, as humans spread throughout the Confederation, that lesson was never forgotten. The end.